Hey guys, it's Minish, and today we're going to be going over 12 things in Pokemmo most of you guys probably didn't know about that are extremely helpful, and I think will do justice by telling you. So starting off, we're going to go over friendship evolutions. Everybody knows friendship evolutions can be a pain, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Goldenrod City, you're going to follow my path right here, make it nice and easy for you, minus crashing into the wall, and down here is going to be a hairdresser. There is also going to be in Palletstown, Gary's sister is going to also be able to increase your friendship once a day. This guy charges a little bit of money, but he'll groom a Pokemon for you, raising its friendship, bringing it to an 80% threshold. So very close to evolution. If you watched my Pikachu video, if it's out yet, that's one of the things I do to make Pichu evolve so I can breed it really fast. These are available to you, so technically you can pretty much raise the max friendship of 2 Pokemon from the get-go twice a day. And yeah, so we're going to be going to Gary real quick, but almost everybody here already knows Pallettown. God help you if you don't. But Pallettown, right, Gary's sister should be in this building, right, because right next to your mom. And there's Gary's sister. She will also groom, and she does not charge you $300. But if you want to raise the max friendship of your Pokemon, here we'll do the first Chikorita. Here you're going to see its happiness be about 19. We're going to groom it, and look what happens. Oop. Let me double check. It might have been the other one. Order's always a little bit screwy, but 45, 49. Yeah, 49 opposed to 13. So you can get it to 80 in one day. Just go here and then to the salon. Okay, for the next thing. Hey guys, and welcome back. So for those who don't know, every time there's a server reset, eggs will hatch at a specific second. Right now they hatch at the 50-second mark. So you're going to see right this frame, this egg is going to hatch. And what this means for you is you can be in battle as long as you're there, like out of the 50-second. So if you stop encountering at the 36-second and you wait there patiently, you can hatch your eggs while encountering. Obviously, you can do singles. A lot of people prefer to do hordes because hordes are more controllable for when you get out. Just get used to the rhythm of the about 16 seconds, give or take, horde, right? Intimidate and other factors can obviously lengthen that. But if you are trying to hatch your eggs more efficiently, you can utilize the world clock. I'll include in the link below a world clock I choose to use. This one doesn't have ads that interrupts it. The other one's a little annoying with ads. But yep, there you go, guys. You can encounter when you are hatching eggs, and you don't need to use steps in this game. Okay, so I know a lot of you guys are coming from Pokemmo and you never really learned the mechanics. I'm sure some of you guys experienced when you were kids when you were using action replays. For whatever reason, your Pokemon are significantly weak given their level, and there's a reason for that. They're called effort values. So effort values, right, are a stat bonus to your overarching Pokemon. So if you want your Pokemon to be as fast as possible, you will use something called EVs. In this game, it's super easy, unlike the main games, and you can just tab to see your EV distribution, right? So if you wanted to be the fastest Pokemon possible, you would do a 252 speed EV, but it doesn't stop there. There's also something called a nature. Again, this game is super helpful to you. Serious means no stat changes, right? You don't have to know the natures. Obviously, you have access to Google if you're on a mainline game, but here you don't even have to do that. You just quickly mouse over to the first page, and bam, you see no stat changes. So what the base stat says is what the base stat is. I'm using Glalie because Glalie is hilariously even all across, so it's a lot easier to understand how natures work. So this isn't 100% accurate because the way percentages work, but a good way to basically understand is you're taking 10% of the total stat distribution from one stat and you're putting it in the other. So let's say every stat is perfect. And how you know every stat is perfect is IVs. You are missing stats if that is not a 31. So in this scenario, we'll just say everything is 31. But if you want to understand IVs a little bit, so just that is an 80. The 31 is the only 80, assuming this is Glalie, right? If it was a 29, it is a percentage of that 80, right? So all IVs are is it's making sure you have the full 80 in all stats. So if you have 31s across the board, you're seeing 80s across the board. So to make the math easier for us, we're going to go with that notion. So we'll say it has a speed nature minus attack, right? So in this case, right, this is timid nature, by the way, for those wondering, you would have 70 attack and you would have 90 speed. It'd be a little different, right? Because that's not totally how percentages work, but that's a good way to think about it, right? Another good way to think about it is if you want the fastest Pokemon possible, if you want to make sure you move first, which is very important if you're against a squishy target, you want 252 EVs in a plus speed nature, right? And if you're a mixed attacker, right, that's a little more complicated. Then you're going to the rash and the other types of natures, right? Which are like minus defense plus speed or whatever. But traditionally, most Pokemon are single target, single type of damage, right? They're either a physical or a special attack. So you usually don't need attack EVs and special attack EVs. You usually have one or the other. There are exceptions and there are mixed attackers and they're hard to deal with competitively sometimes. But for simplicity's sake, if I'm using an Unga Bunga physical attacker, such as we'll say for the sake of argument, we'll say a Crocodile, right? A Crocodile or a Gyarados is traditionally a physical attacker, right? So an adamant nature, a plus attack minus special would be the ideal nature in that circumstance. And just remember, all that is it's taking 10% of the special. So in this case, we'll say it's the 70, we'll say 70 special, and now you're at 90 physical, right? Really easy. That's your breakdown of EVs, IVs, and effort values. Okay, guys, so here we are in the Johto Safari Zone. Well, Minish, you're not actually in the Safari Zone. That is 100% correct. From there, you fly to the place called the Safari Zone, and you come here. What's helpful is you don't have to worry about catching any mods, you don't have to worry about catching legendaries, and out-of-battle effects still work in the Safari Zone, as long as that's the leading Pokemon. So if you are trying to hatch eggs, and you go over what we talked about earlier, which is just not be in battle at the 50-second mark, and remember, Safari doesn't have the animations that these other Pokemon encounters, because you're not throwing a Pokemon out, so it's faster to encounter, faster to run away. For these reasons, and the fact that you don't need any extra mods in your party, the Safari is an ideal place to hatch. But Minish, you know, it's a long way back there, right? We came all the way in from the Pokemon Center. It's a long way back. Which part of this fact, I'm telling you right now, is this tree is actually a PC. So if you are looking to hatch while shiny hunt, this is a premier location. Just make sure to lead with a Flame Body Mon. Okay, for your next helpful tip, this is something I wish I had when I did my initial playthrough, and I give a lot of new players who come to my stream. This is a comprehensive walkthrough of the story of all regions. I'm going to put this in the description below, but if you somehow lose this video and you don't know where to go and you don't want to look through my list of YouTube videos because no one sees this and it goes to the bottom, you can come to my chat, type !story. This works even if offline chat, it will still work for you. It's going to give you the link you need, as well as a bunch of other helpful commands, but the story is the main one for people watching this video. From there, you can utilize Control F. I know most of you guys are PC literate, but not all of you. So say you were struggling with a certain part, you can look at the route you're on, say Route 19, Route 252, Unova region, whatever, right? Because I know Unova double dips on routes for those who don't know. But you could search a specific route and make sure you're doing everything. Make sure you're picking up the specific items you need. If you're getting lost in the story, like Hoenn and Sinnoh tends to do for a lot of people because of backtracking, right? You can just look up your next spot in this story walkthrough. There's no need to stress you out. PokeMMO, for the most part, story-wise, is very much like the main games, with a few exceptions, of course. But you don't even have to worry about those few exceptions, because these legends right here, they already created a comprehensive walkthrough, and this is how you make sure you're getting the most out of your playthrough. Even if you're an experienced veteran, Maybe there's always the outlier, but I'd say 99.9% of you don't know where every single hidden item is and every trainer to talk to on your way through. So this can be super helpful. It was helpful for me for Orange Islands. And yeah, I just used it when I was doing my Smurf. So make sure you guys are utilizing the walkthrough if need be. Alright guys, so now we're going to be going over the Payday goats. Make sure to limit your Payday daily. You don't want to be performing like these bots. You don't want to get that bot confusion. You don't want to be grinding too much. I know that sounds counterintuitive of productivity, but some of these systems, man, I personally do not trust, so I feel it is my moral obligation to let you know. I would not personally recommend paydaying for more than an hour at a time, and if you do, I would take intermittent breaks so you don't end up in a situation similar to myself in the past. So, starting out, we're going to go over the Payday goats. So, firstly, you have your goat, Meowth. Now, Meowth doesn't have to be a Meowth. The more impressive one is the Flex Munchlax. But 99.9% of people watching this video most likely don't have their own shiny Munchlax, and that's not a problem for them. And Meowth is one of the most huntable Pokemon. And funny enough, it's partnered with the other goat, which you can use by using the hidden ability. I always mispronounce this word, so I'm just going to read it off live. But it's like Charismatic Pearls. It's such a weird name. But you can use like, I'm just typing P. This is how hard it is for me to look this stuff up. I always keep a bunch of them. Yeah, so these little pearl things. Prismatic Pearls. So if you click a Prismatic Pearl, you can take any regular Pokemon, right? A normal Pokemon. So if you had a normal Rapidash with a hidden ability, you could take your shiny Rapidash and convert it. The Rapidashes themselves are pretty cheap. I've seen them at 20k and below. They're flame body and they're super nice. You can also get an alpha at 20, and like if you get one with an adamant nature and a 31, you're already cooking and you can just go ahead and use that. The female ones tend to be super cheap, but for most of us who want to use our shinies, right, so we're looking at our own OTs or original trainer IDs, you can use Charismatic Pearls. You throw a normal one in there. You can break down your own shinies or shinies that you don't want. I recommend you get them off the GTL if you're going to do such a gross thing, but these are usually about 300k a pop. So it's going to be usually about 900k to put a hidden ability on your shiny. But the reason you would want to do that with Rapidash is its hidden ability is Flame Body. Just like you probably saw earlier this video, I was walking around hatching my Chikorita eggs, as I always be doing, and I was using my favorite Pokemon, Slugma, out of the Flame Body trio. You can actually use Money Horse, right? I call it the Money Horse technology to Payday while you hatch. So you get the advent of Flame Body while you are hatching eggs. And what Flame Body will do, we talked about the tick system earlier, is it will take an entire tick off of what you want to wait. So instead of waiting 4 minutes, you're waiting like 3 minutes. I think it's 5 minutes to 4, but I'm not 100%. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. I usually just track off of just muscle memory, like when it feels right, and then just as long as you're not in battle at the 50, you're gonna hatch anyway. But so that is the Payday goat for Flame Body users, right? Additionally, you have the pickup Payday goats, which we were just talking about earlier. That's going to be your Munchlax Meowth. 31 adamant. Some people like to get a mixed attacker Meowth and hyper voice. It's not effective of a hyper voicer. It's about the equivalent to Teddy Ursa, which I have here. Right now I have the honey gather ability on it, right? Honey Gatherer is an alternative to pick up where it gets you honey, and if you honey tree farm, there's good value there, right? So you're not spending a fortune on honey every now and again, but it also has access to pickup. So remember, Meowth and Teddy Ursa, they have the ability to get hyper voice. They have the ability to like make your stats super, super good, give yourself a plus special attack nature, and go to town. But for me personally, I like my Meowth to be adamant natured and have a 31, so that way it can do Island 5 or another really good location. Really good location is going to be Ruin Valley. So if you're looking, this is Island 5. This is what the map looks like. Remember, you can hit this bottom to switch, and this is Ruin Valley. I highly recommend these places for payday pickup because of the high levels. And personally, I prefer Island 5 because it's a Toka tech. And if you do want to hunt Togepi via eggs, you have to friendship evolution every time. And that's just too much of a pain for anybody. So I choose to go here. Ruin Valley, you're going to have Jolteon, which you can always breed down to an evolution. Everybody has an evolution of their preference. It's very nice shiny. So if you want to go there, Yama's there. The spot is a little bit more solid all overall. But again, I'm going for Togetic and both are W locations. And for those who don't know how pickup functions or payday functions, every time you kill a Pokemon, you have a chance to pick up an item. And how Payday works is you look at the level of the Pokemon. So you're going to see a level 50 Sentret right here. And I'm going to use Payday with my horse. And it's going to give me 500 big ones. So if you're looking at my total money at the top, you're going to see it go from 506 to the zeros, right? Next one up. So again, really good way to make passive income. That way, if you're luring here, you're paying off your lures. Just, again, do it in moderation. But Teddy Ursa, really good for AoE hunters. How it's going to do that is going to use Hyper Voice, right? And it's going to clear everything. And as it clears everything and it levels up your mods, it picks up off the hordes. Meowth, Munchlax, Premier, like pickup paydayers. And then if you're trying to hatch eggs, you have the option with Money Horse. Okay, for our next one. Okay guys, for my next one, a lot of you guys probably see my videos. I see it a lot of times when I'm doing gym runs and they ask me, Minish, how come your Pokemon Center is all of 2 seconds? How come you can immediately do that? How come you can immediately open and close the boxes in half a second? The reason that is something called strings. What strings will do is it will trade, hello, welcome to the Pokemon Center, to a dot, a blank space, and it immediately bypasses almost all dialogue. People use it for berry farming. It's completely necessary if you wish to egg hunt because egg hunting off a shiny charm is based off time and nothing is more fast than having strings. Getting those installed can be a real pain. A lot of reasons I recommend the program I'm about to recommend to you right now is because people come into my stream, they like my UI and my mods. If you like my mods, you like my UI, you can just put them on here. This is a string installer. I have a step-by-step video already made. Granted, this was early on when I really didn't care about YouTube at all, and I was just trying to make commands for my Twitch, so I don't have to answer the same 6 questions every time. But this video still holds up. Everything's accurate. All the links are still in the description. What this is going to do for you is it's going to allow you to install all these mods. We have a little bit more mods on since the video came out. My boy Ryusuke does a good job updating it, keeping it fresh for y'all. But it will install strings with you on the push of a button. It will install your ROMs for you on the push of a button. And it will install your mods for you on the push of the button. And I get confused. I'm pretty slow sometimes. I need a guide. I like to see a video just sometimes for the safety of it, especially when you're dealing with computer files to make sure you're doing everything right. I'm going to put this in the video description below. This is super helpful. Get your strings, your mods installed, and then again, it'll give you like a little bit of a baseline understanding. If you want to take your friends' mods and drive them into the folder, you can. This is mostly for an initial setup, and it's also going to give you a little bit of an understanding on how the mods and the strings work. So go ahead and check that video out. That's going to be your next hint. Alright guys, here is more of a Twitch hint that I want my viewers to see personally because I'm tired of telling them every 2 seconds, especially because they like to lurk in my stream out of goodwill. What you can do, right, if you turn the volume all the way down, Twitch is able to detect that you are not there, therefore you are not watching ads, and you are not an occupant of the channel. If you want to help your favorite streamer with their view count, or you want to generate the points in the chat, what you can do is you can click here and you can right click mute site. If you keep it in the muted position like so, you don't count as a viewer and you're not getting any channel points. What you can do, and this works with every site, I do this on the timer, I do this on any site I'm reading manga from with pop-ups, this is just helpful in general, you can actually mute a site like this. See volume, and there it goes. That way she's getting the viewer, that way I'm lurking, that way I'm supporting, right? This is a good way to help your content creators if you don't actually like them. Alright guys, for my next trick, you can breed shinies of the same species if you have the male, right? So if I have the male OT, if I have a male Loutrid, and I don't want to shell out the 6 million for a Ditto, I can actually buy a female Loutrid and maintain OT. All that really matters is that the species is maintained. That's for obvious reasons. It'd be pretty cheap if I could take a Squirtle, right, with the same egg group as my OT Tentacruel, and now that's my OT Squirtle. That's not fair for the people who are putting in an effort. But by the same token, if I have a Squirtle and it is male, and I am a psychopath, I can then take that same Squirtle and breed it with a female Squirtle and kill both Squirtles and retain ID. If I were to breed both of those Loutrids together, my ninth Loutrid, obviously I would never do that. It's so valuable and it's one of the rarest in the game. But I could breed with this random non-OT with mine, and it would be A-okay, right? Put it back in his spot where he's safe and sound. I was a little nervous putting him in there. But yeah, luckily my Loutrid is safe and sound. But for anybody looking to save a couple of bucks for your shiny dream and you do get the male, it is okay to buy the female of that same species. And if you look at my recent video with my Snowgrunt, again, I did that same thing with a Frostlass, right? Because I felt better value getting the Frostlass. Majority of the time, you're not going to get your money's worth with Dittos. They're the traditional gender bender, and some people's option are only Dittos because they're not going to buy an Aerodactyl. So there's generally speaking less of demand for a female Pikachu if you have a male Pikachu and you're trying to breed. So look into that. It's almost always the more viable option. My next and very, very important piece of advice. I've lurked in Petrowski's stream. He said similar advice. Beat all regions as fast as you can. There's always viable money-making methods, such as Ditto farming, extremely profitable. Lepa farming, extremely profitable. But nothing is as safe as Jimmy runs. And I know a lot of us late-game players, we get lazy, we neglect doing it. But remember, in an hour's time, if you are doing a max efficiency Jimmy run, you will be earning more than I earned here, because my run is very RNG reliant. If we get good RNG, yeah, we can equate to the best Jimmy runs, but most of the time, no. Most of the time, we're getting about 600,000, right? As you can see here, this is inflated. We use the 100% for when I do redo my Jimmy Run guide, because there's a couple of tweaks we made to make it better. But this was mid-tier RNG, and we were making about 694,000 after cost, right? So there's always going to be like, oh, you know, this is the best, this is the best. No, just if you are doing Jimmy Runs at all, remember, you are effectively making $2.30 an hour for playing a video game. No other game I have played in my lifetime has that return of conversion, and you can thank all the MMO whales for that. But you can get an actual $2.30, which adds up extremely over time every day if you do your Jimmy runs. So guys, especially you new players, stop being poor. Beat all 5 regions, get a basic Jimmy run, actually go ahead and get yourself a skill length cloister. All you need is a 31, doesn't even have to be a 31. You can make it do with a 28 or 29 skill link at, cloister, try to have a plus attack nature, and you can literally just sweep rich trainers until you can afford a Jimmy run team, and then from there you can start making the high-end income and then transition into maybe doing E4 runs. I like to do an E4 run into a Jimmy run, right? Because you're just getting more value for your richest charm that way. But again, before you even understand what the hell I'm talking about as a new player, just say, hey, I'm gonna beat all regions, because every day I don't beat all regions. Every day I'm not at this late game content. All these other players are getting a $2.30 head start on me for free. And if you make an alt account, which I highly recommend everyone does, you make an alt account, you can farm and shiny hunt on the alt account while you do these Jimmy runs. It makes it way less monotonous, and again, I think everybody should be doing it. Don't be wasting your time, don't be wasting your money. Do that Jimmy run to sustain your shiny hunting effort. And guys, for the last And the most important thing that you can do to help yourself, what you need to do is you need to hit that like and subscribe button for 10% increased luck. It works. You can't prove me wrong. See you guys in the next video. Peace, peace. Love y'all.